Yeah. Uh, all right, here we go. Yeah, let me pull up my KuCoin. I'm on the deposit crypto screen. And then when I'm trading, am I like buying things with XLM or am I buying things with Bitcoin? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh, okay. Okay. So for XLM, I'll just click the only option they have for the network is XLM, obviously. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I got to add both. So now I'll go to Coinbase then. Go to my assets. Um, mhm, mhm. Yeah. Yep. It's ironic. Uh-huh. Right. Yeah. Right. That's nuts. Jesus Christ. But do you think we give them like is that not a part of like the reward for building what they built? Now, I don't think Binance is great either, but he built this big thing and people use it and he got rich off that. Mm, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. So So if you're saying you don't like Coinbase, where should I like buy my crypto to transfer it over to KuCoin? Okay. All right. I'll open up an account there. I'm gonna write that down. Okay, so right now though, since I'm on on Coinbase, so I am under the assets, and now I'm gonna say, not, I need a transfer. Yeah. So I gotta go to my wallet, send. Okay, so I'm gonna send all XLM. Oh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna send $5. Okay. So the address is this address. Copy, copy, paste. And now I gotta put in this memo, which is my exit highway. Oh, shit. Good thing I did a test. All right. I'm gonna continue. You are sending $1. Send now.
The transaction usually takes a few seconds.
Yep. And these are going to be the steps
So
every time you're depositing whatever you're doing. You just go to your KuCoin main account, hit that little deposit button, and then pick whatever crypto. Now, if you're going to be using XLM like, most people do, people all like Europe's been using XLM for a while now just because it's so cheap to move it around. So most people in other countries use XLM for all their transfers. You just got to make sure that once you grab your address, you always put the memo in because the memo is your bank account number.
yeah, all right, we'll do. So now where will it show up? Will it just say on the
Right,
main account?
right in the main account. Like it'll just pop up in the main account, and then once that's in there, then you just hit your little transfer button, and you can just move it over to. You just have this little section here. It'll be main and then transfer, and you just literally click on the amount, all of it, and you confirm it, and then that'll take about 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden you just go back into your trading account, and here is where you change whatever you have into what you want it to be. So if you have XLM here, then what you would do is say, okay, well, I want to put USDT into my futures account because I'm going to make some trades here today. You would simply hit trade on your XLM account, like whatever coin it is, you'd hit trade, and you make sure that the trading pair is whatever the coin is to USDT. Now, some people make the mistake where they go, the trading pair like to USDC, and then they can't find their money because it's in USDC, and they don't realize that it's not in USDT. So you just got to make sure you're always using the USDT because that's the trading pair that KuCoin uses on their platform. So you hit the USDT, and what that'll do is take you in there, and simply all you do is, since you have a coin and you want to switch it out from that coin into USDT, you would just sell it out. So you just go to market, you'd pick 100% of what you're selling, or you'd actually go to stop market, and then you would just look at the price, right? And you would put your price in. So like currently, if it's $288.75 a coin, you'd put that in there, and then you'd basically sell, put in your stop amount there. So you're 288.72, and then you'd sell 100% of it. That way you're getting the price that you want for it versus the market. So that way you're not losing, any little things. But a lot of times what most people do, they'll just hit market 100%, sell it. And what market does is just goes based on the smallest price to the top price. And it just whoever has the amount, because basically all it is like sometimes you'll see a good price here, but that person only has so many BNB. Like this guy's offering 288.79, but he's only got 10 BNB, right? So if you're selling more than that, then what it does, it has to go and separate the orders.
Okay, so let me just first get the rest of it over. So I got the $1 went over, actually went to 99 cents. So now I'll send the rest.
There you go. Yeah, so now that's learning how to transfer there. So that's going to be it every time, and then you just rotate it over to your trading account. Now what I'm going to do here.
So let me deposit the rest into XLM network. Okay. So let me copy the address. Paste the address. Copy the memo. Paste the memo. Okay, and I'm gonna just send the rest now.
There you go.
Then now.
And XLM and XRP are super fast, so they're like 1, 2, 3 seconds. It's not like the Bitcoin that you got out there for 24 hours so far. And that was the other day, the Bitcoin network went down where it was like transferring, I think, one transaction in like, I forgot, man. It was massive hours. It's crazy.
Yeah, someone else has it now.
Did you grab the coming from your cold storage? Did you get the in here? Did you hit deposit and get or did you send it to KuCoin, or where did you send it?
Yeah, to KuCoin.
Okay, so here's what you can do to kind of see what's happening. If you have using a coin and you want to kind of see what's going on, there's a when you go to deposit, right? You see where you have your deposit and you have your statuses and all that. And what you can do is go to let's see here. You should be able to actually, on the deposit side, there should be like a history here. Right? You should be able to see the coin. Let me see. I think if you put your coin in here, so if you put Bitcoin here, because that's what you were sending, it might be able to tell you where it's at. So you might see it might say Bitcoin network here, and then it'll basically, instead of status, it won't, instead of complete, it'll say like pending. And then that means that it's in the network and it's just still waiting for a miner to send it to you. Are you seeing anything in there of a network, a Bitcoin transaction pending?
No. Damn, dude, I may have fucked it up.
And
big time.
Then the other thing that you want to do is anytime you're doing like sending it somewhere, right? So here, did you has different networks. Make sure you're picking the correct network. So did you get this Bitcoin network right here? BTC?
I must have. I think I did.
All right, so what you kind of like before you send anything, you always want to look and say, okay, and you just do the first two and last two. You go, all right, 37 TD. So then when you paste, right, if you copy and you paste that in, you just want to make sure that you check that the first two are 37 and the last two are TD. You don't need all this. You just if you don't have a D at the end of your address on where you're sending it, then you didn't put it in all the way, or something's wrong. Or if it says 7Y in the beginning, then you're missing your 3. But that's kind of like the rule of thumb is always look at the first two and last two, just so that you can make sure that the address is right. You don't need to sit there and go C, Z, P, Q. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First two, last two, you're good.
Okay. So the So now my XLM is there.
Yeah, so now you're just going to hit that transfer all the way to the far right. And it should say main account to trading account. You're going to select amount, total, select all your amount.
Okay, so, hold on, sorry. All right, so transfer
Mm-hmm.
from main account to trading account, right? Or do I do futures account?
No, because it's in XLM, remember. You got to trade
Oh,
it out.
yeah, okay. So coin XLM amount all. Okay. Main account coin XLM amount all and confirm.
Correct. To trading, correct.
Success. All right.
Now give it a second to normally inside a KuCoin it's not the coin that's taking time to get there, it's the actual exchange, because the coin's already there. It's just basically if the exchange has it in what account it has it in, right? So now you should be able to click on trading, and if you don't see it, just refresh it every 5 seconds until it pops up.
All right, it's there under trading.
Yeah, so now go over and you hover over the word trade. And what's going to happen when you hover over the word trade is it's going to, or click trade, and then trade is going to pop up a list of like pairing options, right? So you want XLM/USDT.
Okay.
And then click on that, and that's going to take you to the trading platform.
Okay.
And now on the trading platform, you basically, you can just trade it out with market. Just click market, go over to the red side to the right, 100%. You're going to sell 100% of it.
Price USDT, just whatever.
Yeah, so USDT, once you click it, you're going to go to XLM, USDT. Now you're in, it'll take you to the trading platform, right? So you will see a price over there, and let's take a look. The XLM price currently is let's see. Oh, that's Bitcoin. Hold on. XLM USDT. All right. So currently it's 0.112432, right?
Yeah.
So to kind of make sure that you're getting the highest price in there while you're looking at it, because it's kind of like if you hit market, right, it'll just kind of like sell it, and then whatever price it can, the first people that can handle your amount transaction, doesn't matter what price it pick, it's just going to go market value. So it's from top to bottom, right? So it tries to get you the best price possible. Now, if you want to be like, well, you know what, I want to make sure I get the most out of my amount, you're going to hit this little stop limit and go to stop market. Okay. Now, once you hit stop market, this is going to have a stop up top, and we're going to be selling, not buying. So we're going to go to the right side to the red. And what we're going to do here is we're going to enter the price we want. So you see how now it's going up to 11.25. So you're going to put your zero. Always have to put a zero before the decimal. And then you would put in there 11.20. Let's say 4. Yeah, 488.
11.
Yeah.
2488.
Yep, and then put 100%. You just click that 100% mark and hit sell.
Okay. Enter valid number.
So up there, you got to make sure you hit that decimal. 0 decimal 11.
Yeah.
And it might be too many numbers, so just put 11248. Or actually, it's going up right now, so it's 1125.
1125. That's it.
Yep.
I just went down. Whatever. All right. Let me sell that. Okay. You have placed the order successfully.
All right. So now to see if you actually sold it, because it's kind of going up and down, you go back up to your top assets, and then you go back to your trading account. And what you're looking to see is if it became USDT, and it should be USDT should then climb to the top.
yet.
All right. So basically what it is, it's right now, and this is a good way to kind of explain how to use your buying and selling in here, is your stop market is basically, it's set at that price. So it won't sell until it hits 11.25. Right?
Okay.
Now, a lot of times if you're doing a trade in here, this is how you set an amount to take profit. So let's say you enter a trade and you put a stop market a little bit down below. Let's say we put it at 11.23, right? That means that if it falls to that level, we want it to sell 100%, right? And we would put it over here in the stop. We'd say 11.23, 100%, done. It doesn't trigger unless that price is actually hit, right? And then it'll start shopping around. It'll sell at that price. Like that's the price it's selling. Now, the second thing you do, a lot of people, they don't do is like you set that stop to also take profits. So you can set that at 11.29 or 11.32 or whatever. And then as this coin is going up, if you're not watching it, once it hits your profit zone, it'll sell at that zone. So now, right now, if XLM is kind of like going in the wrong direction, this is a kind of good time to just kind of learn your KuCoin. So what you can do now is go to here and you have your advanced orders, right? And you're going to see here these orders that are open here, and you can just cancel out.
I'm back on the trading account. So you go.
Just type in XLM in that search bar.
Okay. All right, and then go back to trade.
Yeah, go back to trade. USD. Make sure you get the right pairing. USDT.
Under advanced orders, it's still there, so it hasn't closed.
So what you're going to do here, because it's kind of like going back and forth on there, so just click on it, cancel it. And then what we're going to do is go back over, hit stop market, go over to the red side, and we're just going to put in 0.1124 at 100%.
Okay. What's the difference between stop market and stop limit?
So limits basically is when it's going down. Limit triggers as long as it kind of like it hits it, right? So if you have a price that's below the current price, it doesn't trigger until it actually reaches it. But if you have when you do a limit price, and if you try to put a limit above the current price, that price is below it. So the way limit works is the price you put in and any price below it. Right? So if you put a limit price at 11.25, 11.24 is already cheaper, so it'll just trigger right away.
Okay.
Stop limit has a very specific number. Limit is
stop market.
Yeah, stop market has that number, and that's the number. Stop limit means that anything at this number and below. That's why you can set it to buy at a stop limit. Because once it gets to that stop limit number, it'll start buying.
So this thing is still... I should have just done market, right? Because this shit is still there.
Yeah, you can do market. Just cancel it out. Just go to market. But that'll be something. So that way you can kind of understand what you're doing in this little zone here when you're doing regular trades. So you can cancel out. Just hit market. Hit 100%. And hit sell.
All right. So now I go back to assets. Sorry, I go back to
trading. And that's
trading.
assets to your trading, and then your money should be USDT right there.
There it is. Okay.
And all you're going to do here is you're going to hit transfer, and now you'll see trading account with the little arrow, and normally it'll say like main account, because normally what you do is you go from your trading to your main. You're just going to hit that little down arrow, pick your futures account, hit the amount that you want to send.
I'll do 1,000 for now.
Yeah, and just shoot it over.
Okay.
And now we can slide up here, and that's pretty much how you put money into your futures account.
Okay.
So now we're going to go over to futures. Click on it. And that's going to take us down here. And the first thing it's going to do is show you what your account has, right? So right here, whatever you funded will be in USDT. And then slide to the right, and you're going to see where you can hit trade. And once you hit that, you're going to go to this new setup that basically has the charts, the side on the right where you can use leverage, pricing, whatever it is, and then buy longs and sell, etc. So what we're going to do here is that now.
When you see BTC perpetual, that just means like regular Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin. It's just because you're in a futures account.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's where you click on that, and that's where we're going to find our coin. So let's say if we were going to do Ape coin or something, right? You just type in Ape, and then that'll pull up the Ape coin, and we can slide into there. And there we go. Dude, I put a buy on Ape way down here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's dope. Are you still writing it?
Yeah. You couldn't beat it at it was like 4.15 or something. I mean,
That's so cool.
I mean, the coins, even though it's an interesting project. It has to build a lot, but they are, the one thing I like about them is that they're all about marketing, right? I mean, even if they lie about half their stuff, they really want to do something. It's like you can't, in this industry, if you told everyone, honestly, if you tell people like this is a project we're building, it's so far above their head, they can't comprehend anyways. But if you feed them a bunch of bullshit and they keep buying into it like fish, and you actually take the money and go do something good, then at the end you're like, see, this is what it is. I mean, their video game's cool. I mean, it looks, it looks pretty good. So I mean, the concepts of how they kind of did it, I'm like, but I mean, at the end of the day, knowing people, I'm like, what else are you gonna do? I mean, if you're honest with people, they wouldn't understand the shit anyways. But nah, I'm not interested in that. But if you tell them, they're like, oh, this coin's going to 1,000, they'll put all their money in. It's such a funny industry.
Yeah.
So now we're in future. So now all we have to do here is, decide on a coin. So this is where we go to our charts. And this is where we're going to be looking through our charts here. So XRP is kind of going through its consolidation period. I've been watching the daily because I see how I see it growing on the daily, and it looks really good, like it's going to do something. It just has we don't have our 4-hour buy. And remember how it works is that once you start at the 1 hour, there's always a pullback on the 1 hour, and then you wait for the 2 hour, 3 hour to trigger. And once the 3 hour triggers, the next one is the 4 hour. So, if we go here and we take a look at our 1 hour, we're going to see where we've had pushes. So here's our 1 hour and our push. Here's our pullback. Here's our second push, which is your 2 hour. And now we're going through this pullback, right? So now, before we enter this trade here, which I'm not, a lot of times I only like to trade on the 1 and the 3, because once we go through this pullback here, here's your 1 hour, here's your pullback, here's the 2 hour. But see, this is normally like an M. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of times M's will produce the M will produce a down pattern, right? Which will basically come down into here, and then it shoots back up. So normally once you get to the 1 hour, and it gets its pullback and you get that second pull, you need to make sure that we get a nice little pullback position where we can, get in. But we do see the 50 closing in on here, but currently right now this is not a trade for us. So then we would move over to, we did take a look at Ape a second ago, so let's take a look at Ape real quick to see if there's anything going on with Ape. All right.
So when you were saying, you were saying something, you always start on the 1 hour, and there'll always be a pullback, and then from there you go to the 4 hour, right? Or 3 hour.
Yeah, you go to the 3 hour to see where the 3 hour is. And what you're doing is, you're just progressively going to that next phase, because those are going to be triggered by more sentiment and more volume, meaning that they're more solidly developed. So because remember, we're only looking for that 1% move anyways. We just want to make sure that we're getting into a 1% move that we actually are in the beginning of. right? We don't want to be in the middle of a move or at the end of a move and then wait for that second move, because we could have a pull who no one can ever tell you what the pullback will be, because you can't really. Most of these traders are, rookie traders, and once they see something falling, they don't realize that a natural 10% pullback is going to lead to another push, and they'll panic sell. So crypto is very unorthodox in that way, because unlike stocks, it's not professional or traders that are, running a system. It's kind of like the Fibonacci's. You could used to be able to use the Fibonacci's for taking profits, but now you'll realize that they take profits about 20% before the mark that they should take profits, because rookie investors are just basically like, well, most people take profits right there, I'm just going to make sure I take it before them, not realizing they're actually causing everyone profits. So in crypto, it's kind of like it's a free-for-all. Like once it makes moves, it starts to come down. Like see here, normally a normal run goes like this, right? There's a big leg, right? You have a big push. And then what happens is the whales take their profits, it comes down, and then right here should have triggered a second wave of a push, right? But since there's no retail investors and no regular investors, there's no like super push here. And you see how it slowly builds up, and then it's like, and then right there, people are like, oh man, this isn't going to work. And then they start selling. And this is a bunch of rookies here that got in and then sold because it barely moved, and they're like, they're leveraging 50 to 100x, so it's like they can't take the risk, but that was a terrible time to enter, and this second move normally doesn't pay off. So we want to always be on that first move and then just move on. Yeah, so here we can take a look at Ape and go, okay, here's Ape, pulled up, looks good. It did its run here. Like, I mean, right here, we get in our 1 hour. We'd have got in at least right here. And on a long position, this candle would have triggered it. We would have got an email. So somewhere on here, we would have got in. And even if we got in halfway up and we're a little bit slow, I mean, we're still looking at, look at that move right there, 4%. So either way, we would have grabbed 4% on this move here.
Are you on the day? You're on the 1 hour, huh?
1 hour, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now
I'm seeing on the 1 hour for me, I'm seeing a massive sell-off. Like there was a sell trigger on 8. Oh, what the fuck? This is NF. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong coin. Ape USDT.
Ape USDT, yeah.
Sorry, I was on a completely different coin. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. But now the problem is that the 1 hour is still showing some, and this is why we buy on the 1 hour and then we look to sell on the 15 is our warning sign, right? And the 30 is our sell, right? So what we're looking for here is just like the 15 just gives us a warning if it's like if it's not going to, it's if it's encountering weakness early, right? So as you can see here on the 15, there's no weakness here. This is a solid pump. And then finally we get a 15 red sign up here, which would have popped in around here, right? And at that point, we were already up 4%. We could have been like, you know what? I'm just going to take my profits, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we would have seen a sell sign somewhere in here, then we would have been like, we would have started gear. It's just like a warning sign of like, move your stop loss up, like get ready to, see what's happening here, right? And then we go to our 30, and our 30 is kind of like the end all, right? So here we would have sold on our 15 minute because it's like we already had massive profits, and our trigger would have happened because we're staying at least 1% behind or a 0.5% behind. You know what I mean? So that's simple. And now
so it's not good. It's not good to sell on the 30 or 15, or sorry, buy on the 15 or 30, because if you look on the 15 or 30, I know you don't have it on, but I have the buy sell trigger thing, indicator thing, the U bot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look on the 15, it shows sell right around like 12:30 or Wednesday, like 12:30. But you see how that sell didn't really last that long. It's just still kind of like in the consolidation
Yeah,
So
right in
that
this
would have
zone.
not been like the right time to get in, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can, a lot of times. So, the reason why we use like the 1 hour time frames is we're just looking for a solid move right now. As you start to get better, you'll be able to start using the 15-minute, right? And it goes like this. So when you look at your 15-minute, we're going to take a look at all of it. So first thing we want to see is, we're moving along. Here's a sell sign. The candle is above the 10 moving average. We're good. And we're starting to turn green. So right here, you would have been jumping in. Like at this zone here, and because the 15 is ready to go, and the only thing that you're aware of when you're getting in at this time is that you need to make sure that you're focusing on taking profits here, because a lot of times a 15-minute will have a pullback quicker than any other time frame. So you're going to catch some nice pumps here and there, but every once in a while, you'll have where, and this is good to go and look at a coin and say, what's my average? Like you see here. We start to go down here and we say, okay, when was the last time this showed a green? Now, if you go in here, you can see here with a 15 turned green here, but the RSI was already at the top and the MAC 10 was still on the negative side. So it's like you have to kind of be a little more, as you move along, you start to learn a little better positioning. So right here, this move, if you would have jumped in this move, is literally 0.24%. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're not, that's why we focus on the 1 hour, because what that does is the 1 hour helps people they don't have so many false triggers that happen, right? Like fake outs, right? And all that basically that happened here was there was a whale that came in and started buying right here, right, for whatever reason. And it triggered that little like, hey, this is starting to sell. Now, a veteran could look down and be like, man, my RSI is already oversold and my MAC 10 is not, my MAC is not even there. My MAC is not even going. So we would bypass this buy signal because it's already kind of oversold. So we'd want the RSI to come back down before we get thought about it. Now, a rookie is going to see that and buy in. Right? Yeah. That's why if I just slide over and I say, guys, focus on trading on the higher levels, right? This just means that we're dealing with less fake outs, right? That's really what the higher levels just basically, they don't trigger until, there's some pullbacks, etc., right? And you can kind of go through your coin and say, okay, is a 30-minute triggering here? Now here, the 30-minute triggered there as well, right? So now you say, okay, where did my 30-minute trigger, right? You go in here and say, okay, I would have got in right about there. And that's not too bad because this would have got me at least a 1% here. So that's not a bad, fake out or, bad, 30-minute call. So you can live with that. But this is where you have to like the structure of 0.5%, take 25% profit, move your stop loss up. When it gets to 1%, move your stop loss to 0.5%. Right, and then when it starts, it makes that little push up right there. It's almost 1.5%, means that you would move your stop loss to 1%. And when this started to come down right there, it would have triggered a sale on your stop loss, and then you would just kind of wait for your next 30 minutes. But see, that means like this is where you're just like in rhythm. Like, all right, I'm moving my stop loss 0.5%. I'm moving it to where I entered. It's at 1%. I'm at 0.5%. Right, you're just following the system. Oh, I'm almost at 1.5%. My stop loss is at 1%, and it fell down and triggered. I'm out. You know what I mean? You got to. There's not a big window here of like time to like do anything else except be like just completely focused and like structure wise. Just like boom, 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 out. Right. That's the key to it. It's like once you have your structure down and you've done it for 4 weeks, then you can start moving to like the 30-minute time frame, But on the 1 hour, what that does is it eliminates a lot of these fake entries. Like you see here, nothing was green. Yeah. So as a rookie, they're not like panicking, because remember, this is where people lose money. People lose money because they do too many trades. When you start doing too many trades, then it costs you more money to do a trade than actually you're winning. You see what I'm saying? So that's why what we do is we sit here and go, look, what we're waiting for is for our triggers, right? So as we go through these trigger parts, you know, we're watching our RSI come down and we see it gets rejected. It's coming down. We're watching our MAC here. We're like boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden the MAC starts to turn here, right? And we're like, okay, but we're also watching the 10 moving average. So on a 1 hour, if this coin breaks the moving average right here, you're like, okay, I'm getting in this, right? Because now you're looking here going, my MAC's starting to change. You see right here, the progression is starting to move up here. You're starting to get solid coins, and then you're like, man, this is looking nice. And then boom, and you can actually, you know, get in on those 2 trigger points right there. Now, if you're a rookie and you're just sitting there, you're waiting for everything to happen, and you know, because you don't really know. And all of a sudden you see all that happen. You go, oh man, that looked good right there. But even if you stayed out, it doesn't matter. So let's say right here, it goes into a trigger zone. It hits this candle and then you buy in somewhere off here off the 200 moving average, right? You're still in this trade here. And now you're just letting this run out. So this would be
the 2 trigger points you were just saying real quick would be like once it crosses the 10 MA and the RSI.
Yeah, as long as you're MACD. So what you have your RSI, your MACD, and in your 10 moving average, right? You need 2 of those to trigger. So there's your 10 moving average. It's above it, right? And right there, you're like, okay, man, I'm getting in this. And then as long as you look down at your MACD and you see the volume starting to pick up, that's a go. The RSI is what you really use to kind of say to yourself, well, man, it's already been up here. Like the RSI has to come down here somewhere, right? So the RSI is a way to kind of like check yourself to say, that's been oversold for a long time. So it's going to have some type of consolidation. I'm just going to wait for the RSI to consolidate and then I'm going to get in. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys would have sat here, let this consolidate, and then right here when it bounced, they would have bought in right in here. Because going off the RSI. Yeah, just going off the RSI. Now here you already have a buy signal go in, so you would have been picking up somewhere around here, and then just by picking that up, you know, we're looking for that percent move. So that would have gave us, you know, there's always, let's say this triggers, you get an email, you get in late, you buy somewhere off of here, right? And you ride this up. Now this little move here, even on this one little like spike candle that happened right here, that's 3% right there.
Wow.
And that's a terrible trade. Like there's a lot of things that were going wrong there, but the indicators are only going to go when there's so much volume that we can get that 1%. You know what I mean? So here you get it. We would have got an email alert right off this candle here. Right? Remember, this is a 1 hour candle. So right here would have came down, and then as a person, you would have came in and said, okay, my RSI is starting to come down. I'm going to let this RSI come down because I have a buy signal. So now I'm going to get in this, but I'm going to let my RSI, since I'm looking at the 1 hour, I'm going to let it finish coming down. So you just sit there and you watch it, comes down, and then right here, it starts to head back up. You see how it's starting to head back up right here? That's where you would look at it and say, okay, I'm going to jump in this. Because that's my second move right there. Because this is green, everything's set, but my RSI is already coming down. So I'm going to wait for the RSI to bounce, which it does. So that entry would have put us on this candle here, which is also above the 10 moving average. Because remember, when we were looking at it here, we were above the 10. And as we were coming across to the RSI, we were starting to see it fall down below the 10. And now we would wait it out. And as soon as that RSI bounces, our MACD is green. We have a buy signal. Now the RSI bounce. So we would buy right in this candle right here when it crossed the 10, which would have put us, take that middle's cross. So let's say like right there. So let's say we got in a little bit late and we'll go even higher. Let's say that candle right there. So even on that move, you know, even if we miss this giant spike and it comes down and we start selling or, you know, moving our stop loss here, we still would have got our 1.5% move right there. That's the importance of having the 1 hour. Because that right there, see, that's what I'm saying. Like the fake outs on the 1 hour are still, likely to do twice as much as a 15-minute or a 30-minute move. And that's really what you're.
More than that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right there, we would hit our money and we would have got out. And now what we would have done is like, as we're sitting there, we would let this kind of roll out and play. And there's some moves here now. If we look at this right here and we say, okay, so let's take a look and say we're in there and we see that spike, but we got in at a good position here. We're above the moving average, and we say to ourselves, this is a veteran play, right? So if we look here and go, okay, well, wait a minute, I'm in here. It moved 1%. It's coming back down, but I have a 50 moving average here, right? So this is kind of, let me show you the scenario that would have been happening at that time. So if I take this line and let's say right here, I start to see the RSI. You see this little sign right there, the RSI making that big dip right there, right? A lot of times that's where you want to sell because that means your price is dropping, right? So let's say if you're a veteran, you're down the road and you're like, you know what? Let me take a look real quick. Let's take a look at the 3 hour and see what the 3 hour looked like at that moment, right? So let's see if the 3 hour had any more news for us. So if we would have looked here at the 3 hour, right? To see if we were going to get any more push, right? We would have seen that the 3 hour had turned green. You see what I'm saying? And then our MACD was green. So at that time, we could say, you know what? This is probably going to keep pushing. So I'm going to stay in this trade because right now it just looks like it's going sideways, which means it's building momentum. Right? See, so a new trader, a rookie trader, still made their 1%, their 12% gains. Right? And they can move on and they won. That's a win. Right? As you become a veteran trader, you're like, you know what? I'm going to hold this position because my 3 hour just turned green. Now let's take a look at the 4 hour at that time. The 4 hour is green. You see what I'm saying? So at that time, we're like, I'm staying in this. This is green on the 4 hour, the 3 hour. So at this point right now, this is telling me that we got some momentum coming in here. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to allow that 3 and 4 hour to definitely play out their push. So right now, as soon as Ape turns green here, I mean, now you're talking another push, right? But that's how you play the 1 hour. And then to see what's coming next, we look at the 3 hour and it turned green. So that would allow us to stay in this trade and say, you know what? Let's move our stop loss down here and kind of like let's give ourselves some room here. And a lot of times I wouldn't even have my stop loss too close on that. I would be playing my stop loss off of let's say let's take a look at the 1 hour. So on that.
Does your daily show green right now? Because my daily shows red, but it is moving above the 10.
Yeah, no, mine's still red. I'm just saying if it does turn green, we're definitely going into Ape. But right here, you're taking a look here. So at that time when we got into this play here, what I would have done is like, even though I'm getting a move that would have paid out on that, I would have said, okay, you know what I'll do is I'll move my stop loss below up to this. I'm willing to take a loss here, and I would move it to the 200 moving average, and I got the 50. Now, two things that I like here that's actually very bullish right now for Ape, now that we're looking at it, is the 50 moving average. Remember we talked about this yesterday? See how the 50 moving average crossed the 200 right there?
Blue crossing. Yeah.
That's the golden cross, right? So then I would say, man, normally I told you most of the time when it crosses, it has a pump, but always goes through a pullback. That's the pullback. And here it goes exploding. Now, when the 50 is above the 200, it's the least path of resistance. So now I take a look at the 3 hour because I want to see if the 3 hour is actually closing in on a golden cross, which it looks like it's heading there. So this cross could happen, based on this time frame. I would say somewhere in here, Friday or yeah, maybe even like on a Saturday, we're probably going to see this golden cross happen. And if that happens, then, we're definitely getting into Ape. Because, I mean, Ape looks good right here, man. Ape, if Ape keeps building up here, like look how that 10 moving average is pointing straight up there. That just means there's a lot of buy pressure here. There's a lot of buy volume. So if it breaks above this 200 moving average, which is what it's fighting right here at 474, then we're gonna see some movement here, man. And then it just looks like this might actually like break out. This could hit $5, $5.15, etc. So this is how you can kind of see where everything's coming together. But that comes with, over time you start learning all these little things. If you're just following the simple, like the easiest thing in the world is just take your profits, right? If you're in a consolidation mode and you're like, man, everything's looking good, I'm hanging out here, then you can kind of like stay in your little bit of your zone there and see how much more you can push out of it. And, it's just moving your stop loss up. And you still would have been triggering in that zone of 3%, 4% before anything else happened. So it's either way that you end up with your 1.5 or 2% gains. And then once you take them, the next thing is to sit back and say, okay, where's my next entry, when this coin's actually going to do something, right? Which is where we're at right here. We have our 10 moving average coming down, the coin's below it. We more than likely, here's its first bounce off of the 50 moving average here. So we would be looking for it to retest this 50 moving average somewhere in this zone here, and then kind of move up to that movement. But this 50 being above the 200 just means that it's the least past the resistance, and that's why you've seen that explosion right there. Like, that was beautiful. We literally just talked about this last night. When it crosses on the hour, there's always a pullback, and then it explodes. Like, literally.
Why is it that I want to get my indicators, or not indicators, my candles to look just like so your last candle and mine are the same, except for the fact that yours is green and mine is red with green around it. Is there a reason for that?
It's going to be on one of your indicators has it on it. I'll go through and I'll figure out which one it is. But a lot of times you have like a... And then what that does for you, that just gives you an idea whether it has any type of, if it's starting to turn the other color or if it's not.
Yeah.
And that could just be because of your internet. Because mine will do that too, but they do it when it's like, when it's kind of in that zone. But we just, it could just be the internet side for you. So right now, what we're looking for is just kind of like an option to get into a long here. And this is like I said, if the 1 hour is already green, we would slide down to the 2 hour. That's already green. We'd slide down to the 3 hour, and the 3 hour is already green. So it's really like there's the options of getting in here are kind of limited here. And the 4 hours green. So right here, it's like, man, what's the daily? So the next option for us to actually buy in here is the daily. And if we took a look at the daily here, you can notice how the RSI is already at the top. Now, if this RSI was way down here, then I would definitely I would get into this trade. I would say, you know what, this is worth the risk because I'm above the 10 moving average and the daily RSI is here, meaning I got a nice push coming. And the MACD is starting to, go towards the green section. So there's a lot of opportunity there. But with the RSI being that high, I'm not too excited about it because it could just be a nice push through the night and then Thursday and then have a dump. You know what I mean? Because look at that spike right there. See, that's the spike we wanted right there.
Right on the daily.
Yeah. Like if we would have saw this here, right? So right here, you see how like we got a little buy signal here. This little reversal, this little circle right there. So this little reversal right here with all them other indicators going green, we would have been like, you know what, let's go ahead and get in this pretty sensitive here because we have everything going the right direction and the RSI is low. So we would have got in around here, 437, and then had that spot. And that's actually why I got in. So we got in way down here like 430, 426 area.
Okay.
And now
on the 1 hour and on the 15 and even the 30, there's just no play. because everything, like the RSI is like at the 55,
Yeah.
right? Whatever. So it can go either way right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's already made its move. You know what I mean? So now you're just waiting on human nature. Like, are they going to panic sell or are they going to roll?
This is cool because it goes back to your point of studying when coins move. Like you and I are looking at this basically at 2 o'clock Eastern, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we know that a lot of things, at least in the stock market, the later in the day, the more things either will consolidate, and the most of the pumps happen if we look back like earlier in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah,
do
you can
use VWAP at all? Is there a point to ever use a VWAP?
Yeah, as you go down, like, so, there's a lot. Once you have your basic indicators, right, it's like these are very nice because you can look at them and it's very simple. Like, I got a buy signal here, I'm buying it, right? And it's like, keeps life very, very simple. And the VWAP and all that, that's kind of where you can add more to your skill setting, where what it allows you to do is get in slightly early and get out slightly earlier, right? But that all adds up. Like, if you can add another, 0.5% on the in and the out, that's 1%. And if you're at a 20 or 40 or X, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's 24% more gains.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that shit adds up, because you do that 5 times a week, that just doubled your bag.
Yeah.
So that's where kind of like learning all these little other things add up. But just playing the system the basic way while you're starting, to me, it's like creating something that everyone can just come in and simply just win. Like, that's it. Like, so here we were watching Ethereum Classic on our 1 hour, right? That's why I said right now, building the group is going to be great. So at the 1 hour, if somebody was watching this, they would be like, hey man, Ethereum Classic just triggered, right? And then we would have said, all right, no problem. So we would have jumped in on a long position on this 1 hour, because we have where the MACD just turned green. It's above the 10 moving average. This looks amazing. We take this call, and now we can be a little more aggressive. And this move right here, I mean, we got a nice little 10% out of there. Like, even if the guys were holding on this pullback and they're still going, I mean, they're looking at, they're sitting at a nice little 12% here. And that could be a 20x. So that 12% there is 120% gains.
Jesus Christ.
So that's the beauty of like just kind of like, taking the movement, and all you're doing here is just moving your stop loss. And you're saying, all right, look, I'm going to move my stop loss up. I'm going to say that I'm going to stay here, and once again, like we just talked about this, see the cross? As soon as that 50 started crossing, boom, we have a nice little explosion. And this looks like, at this point, it still looks like it's going to keep moving here. So Ethereum Classic actually looks like it has more movement. So then we would check the 3 hour to see where the 3 hour is. Now look at the 3 hour. See, the 3 hour is red. This gives us an opportunity to get into this play sometime today or whenever, once it's finished its pullback. You see what I'm saying? So this hasn't triggered the next leg of this push. Like,
Incognito's probably short, like a short opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if the one, I mean, at that point, you can take a look and see where let's say you're thinking, okay, so, I mean, I wonder if this is going to go short, right? So now the first thing we do is we go to our daily, because we want to see what this coin actually looks like on an entire, what's the sentiment, right? It's red. So on the daily, it's red. So that's great, because that means that, it could be a short. The 4 hour, though, is green, and it is bending, but the RSI is oversold. So this could be, and here's your 200 moving average, right? This could be an opportunity to actually get into a short here, because you might have caught the top. So what you would be looking at is like, all right, I got rejected twice here. So if it rejects again, I'm probably going to have a good opportunity to go short, especially if I'm going into Friday night like that, right? So if this keeps rejecting off here on the weekend, you can definitely go into a short on the weekend and then just play this until Monday morning. You see what I'm saying? Because your RSI is already up there. Now for me, I'd be looking at it going, okay, the 4 hours green. So if I'm looking at my 3 hour here going, okay, if this turns green, we could be looking at another push. Or if this gets rejected again, you see how this candle's starting to get there? So if this candle rejects again, I might go into this position here and do a short, because I'd be looking for this to reclaim the moving average at the 50, which would be somewhere in here. So I'd be looking for a 26 down to a 23 short, somewhere off of that 50. But that also, you'd have to start seeing these go red. So I'd start going down and go, okay, what's my 15 minute look like? Now this shows me my 15 minutes still green, right? So at that point, so that means that they're still buying this coin. This is still buying pressure. I go to my 1 minute just to kind of see what's happening right now. And currently I got my 1 minute and it's coming around, but it looks like it's starting to bend up again. And it's bouncing off the 50 moving average. So right now this is probably going to pump. So right now I wouldn't think of a short right now, because all these earlier indicators are still long. See, we have a green here. We got a green on the 1 minute. We're still green on the 5 minute, right? So right now it's just consolidating, right? So now it's just about finding a great entry on the bounce and then basically riding this back up to this 26.14 mark. And this looks pretty good right here, because you got the 15 minute and it's actually closing above the 10 moving average. And it's green. So, like I said, I wouldn't look at a short right now, because everything here is just went through a pullback. See, this is the pullback. And now we're looking for these to start turning green. And then we'd be looking for this to actually go on another run, because we do have a higher high and we do have higher low. You see?
Yeah.
So currently, all this is lining up to be, basically moving in a direction of an up pattern. So right now I wouldn't be thinking a short. I'd be thinking, okay, how low can I get in on this low? All right, here's your 30 minute bouncing off here. So this, and notice how the RSI got rejected off the, here's your 100. It didn't even make it. It came down, but while it came down, it actually gained value. Right, so this is a good opportunity to go long on Ethereum Classic. So let's go over here to our futures. We're going to type in Ethereum Classic. We're going to pump it in there, and now we got a 73 mark. Now we want to buy in here. We're not going to go full buy. So what we're going to use is you hit the last price to get the last price. And what we're going to do is when you're buying high, you can go ahead and put it a little bit higher, so that way when you order it, you don't actually get knocked out of the order, and it'll buy down to the price that it's at. Okay, so now we're going to do is we're not going to do the full amount. We're going to do something like 25% of our order, or you can just, at that point, you can just kind of like, if you hit 25%, or you can type it in. So let's say you want to do 10% of your money right there. That's what you would hit, and you just type it in yourself and say, all right, I'm going to put 10% of what I have here into this thing. So I'm gonna do 25. Yeah, and basically 20, whatever your assets are. So like, see, I have 400 in there. If you have 1,000 in there, whatever you type here would be the percent of what you want to get in. So a lot of times you want to kind of like, whatever you're getting in, you want to get in at a 10% mark. And then as it starts to make its move or starts to get lower, you can start buying in as it dips, and then your cost average buying until it starts to move. So I'm going to do a 25%, and it's like, I'm not going to do a 50x. I'm going to do a 30x, right? And most people should start with a 20x, something simple, right? And I'm just going to hit a TPS stop loss. Now you can put your stop loss and everything in right away, meaning let's take profits at 50% gains, and I'm willing to lose 15% of my move, and then I would hit buy long. And that would basically confirm everything for me, and it'll fill my order.
What did you say on take profit?
I put 50%.
So that means once we reach, I'm confused by that.
That means that once my order gives me 50% profit on what I put in, it just closes out.
But if we're always looking for like 1 to 2%, then it will never get to 50%, right?
Well, I'm times 30. Right, so
Okay.
50% for me would be it moving 1%.
Oh.
Yeah, it's already like doing everything based on what you're doing. So I'm at a
So if I
30x.
do 10% leverage.
Yeah, your price would be, it would take profits at a different level. So if you do 10% leverage and you go in and buy in, right? Then when you say take profits at 25%, right? Remember, we're only trying to take profits at 12%, right? Based on a 20x. So you would put 20% profits because you would want it to actually, be a little bit more. But whatever your profits is, you just put it in there. Higher the leverage, the less it has to move.
Okay. And my stop loss would be at 100.
Well, no, the stop loss is whatever percent you want. So you can put a 15%, right? And I normally do 15 or 25% stop loss.
Okay.
And then you can always change this because there'll be a little part in here that you can kind of like click on and you can update that. So even if you don't put it here and you just move on, you can literally go back and update it as you go forward. So now this is what I mean here. So you see how the price is starting to drop down here? So I would put a 10% buy-in, and now I'm buying in at 67. And now I'm buying a little more of my position, but at a lower price, which changes my entry price. So now I got an entry price of 25.72.6, right? So let's say I want to get a better position on this. I buy another 10% buy long. Order filled. Now I got in. Now my average price is 25.71.9, right? So now I'm cost average buying my entry price down. That's why you don't want to enter 100% of what you're doing unless you're on a pump, right? And right now we're not on a pump. Right now we're just, it looks like it's going to slowly grind upwards. So now we're just getting prepared to, for the move, right? So you go 10% in, and then as it starts to come down, you start to buy the dip until it starts to reverse for you.
Super fucking confused now. Okay, so if I'm just gonna do it, so am I doing limit and so not limit stop or whatever?
Yeah, so let's say you're gonna do, okay, let's just do a 10%, right? So first thing you want to do here, right, is go over to your chart, go to your 1 minute chart. Okay. Now on the 1 minute chart, we're gonna see if we're in an entry position, right? So take a look at the 1 minute. Now remember that here's your R. See how it's red? So now you're in a sell zone here, right? So more than likely it's going to fall down and bounce off of this 200 moving average, right? So right now you're not going to get into the trade because you're going to let the RSI turn green or bounce up, okay? So right now it's heading downward, okay? So now you say, okay, I'm going to prepare to get in this trade. So just go back over to your KuCoin, and what you're going to do is you're going to click on whatever the last price is. And you're looking for it to go down further. So as long as it's more than what you expect it to be. So you're looking for 25.66, something like that, right? 25.65.5, right? And as long as this price is higher, it will buy down. Like it'll go down to the price that it is. Now you see how it's all falling down there?
Yeah.
So now we're 25.65, right? We go back to our chart. Where's my Ethereum Classic, right? Go back to our chart, and Ethereum Classic is still falling. So it's going to tap the 200, which is what we're looking for. So we're kind of just sitting here. We're just waiting for this to finish its retracement. And we're waiting for this RSI to bounce. And you see how it's starting to bend now? So it looks like it's starting to, starting to show us that it's going to start slowing down on this fall. So now we're going to go back over here and say, all right, so this looks like we want to be. We actually got a better price here at 25.64, right? So now if you were buying 10% of your position, you would just put 10% there, right? And then your leverage, what's your leverage on?
Leverage is on 10.
Okay. So then on your leverage side, you have 10%, 10x leverage. You're doing 10% of your entry. And now you're pretty much ready to get in as soon as you get back to your chart. And what you're waiting for is for Ethereum to stop actually coming down. So right now you're getting a better buy-in, and now you can just chill because now you know that you want to get into Ethereum, but you need this to finish its downward trend. Now, while that's doing that, you're going to start going back and saying, okay, this is still falling. All right, this looks like we're getting to that point there. As long as the RSI is starting to bend, which it is, it looks like it's almost going to be this time. So this is where you would be cost average buying, because the RSI is bending and there's some, moving averages that it's hitting. And just to make sure that we're still in a good kind of movement, I would go to the 3 minute. And now that the 3 has turned red, now I'm over here. Now I'm like, okay, let me see what the 3 is going to get me, right? So I look at the 3. Here's our fall 263. Is the RSI on the 3 minute starting to, the MACD or the RSI starting to bend up, which it is. So now we're like, okay, so that's showing that we're going to have a little more of a pullback. The 5 minute is still green. You see how it's still green? So that means we're still looking to get in here. Our 15 minute is still green. Our 30 minute is still green. So right now, those two basically let us know. So now we're going to take a look at the RSI here. And the 15 minute is already towards the bottom and it's getting ready to move. So basically we're still in an upward move. Now we go back to our 1 minute, and now we're looking for the 1 minute to start making the change, which here's a green candle starting to form, right? Which means that
I don't want a dollar cost average in. I just want to just set this price and say, all right, when it gets to that, just buy it, right?
Yeah, you can just like literally put your price in there and just buy whatever you think it's going to be. So if you're like, all right, it's going to be 225.66 is my buy-in, right?
Yeah.
You just type in your 25.66, and at that point you would put your whatever percent you're buying in, and you just hit buy, and it won't buy in until it hits that price.
And then what about my stop loss? I'm saying
so once
stop loss rate.
Once you get your stop loss in, right? Let me get this filled here.
And so is that telling me, just so I'm reading this correctly, it's saying that on this trade, with the amount I'm putting in, I could win potentially $900, or I could lose $25.
Yeah, depends on how you put your stop loss. So right now, as we go down here, right, you're gonna see this little thing that says take profits and stop loss.
Yeah.
The little square here. You click it. Now, if you want to take profits at 25% of whatever you put in, it'll tell you how much it has to reach, and then you just leave it. If you want to say, well, I don't want 20. Remember, we're always looking for, 20% gains, right? And you could just take that price there and you say you just click 25 and you're like, you know what, that looks good, but I'm gonna take a little less and just kind of like move it down to where you want it to be. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people put the 25% in there so that way they're set up, and then on their stop loss they're like, all right, I'm only willing to lose 15%, which means that if it gets below 25.59 it will sell, right? And you can change this. So let's say I put it here at 25% and I confirm. Okay. And I want to take profits not at 25%, but I want to take 50% profits here. So I'm looking for it to get to 26.09. I confirm this, right? Now, as this coin starts to move and starts to go up, right, and I start to hit my positions, I can always come back here and say, okay, this coin's moving up nicely. I'm going to cancel out this stop loss at 25%, which is 25.53. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase that and say, oh, I'm going to tighten this up and I'm going to put it at 25.60. All right. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm moving my stop loss up and keeping it behind this current price. So that way I'm making my profits. You see what I'm saying? So if my 0.5% profit is 25.60, then once I get my movement on my coin, I would just move my stop loss here. And then as this moved up to 20, let's say this goes to $25.80, then I would open this up and I would say 25.65. And as it starts to move up, I would just continuously cancel this out and keep moving my stop loss to my markers, like my 1%. So if this gets me to 1.5%. Then I come back here and I put in the 1% target range.
Okay, let me just pause for a second. So I'm still so fucking confused. So when I say take profit and I put 25% of that, is there still money left in the trade, or is it saying once it reaches 25%, all of your money is?
Yeah, it's going to sell once your money hits 25% profit.
Because I'm on a 10x leverage. If I wasn't on a 10x leverage.
Yeah, it's calculating based on your leverages and what you have.
Okay.
So if you're on a 10x, it has to go to a certain number. If you're on 20x, it has to reach a lesser number. If you're on 50x, it needs to hit a lesser number. So I'm on a 30x. That means that I only need to hit a 0.5% gain to make 15%. If you're on a 10x, then you need to hit, a 1.2% gain. You see what I'm saying? You need more of a movement because you have to make you're only doing a 10x leverage. I'm doing a 30x, so I need less of a movement. Okay. But once you tell it to take profits at 25%, it's taking profits at 25%.
So right now my price to buy, if I do last, it's $25.68. So do I do last? And then the amount I'm putting in, I put 10% of my thing, so it says 38.4. Then it says that equals 986 USDT.
So when you go in here, whatever your, like, if you have $1,000 in your assets, right?
Yeah.
And you put in here that you want to only use 25% of it, right? That means it'll use $250 for the trade.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use $250 and you say, you know what, I only want to use $100. So you put 10% in here, and then it only takes 10% of your 1,000.
Well, why does it? If I have 1,000 available balance, $1,000, why does it say 986 USDT is what I'm spending?
Where,
0 cents.
Whereas it shouldn't say any US. Oh, you're talking about over here, right?
Yeah.
That's with the leverage.
So I'm about to spend $986 of my 1,000 on that leverage.
Yeah, they're going to give you they're giving you the amount to equal that. So you put in 100, you're doing a 10x. So your 100 times 10 is 1,000, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to put 900 USDT in for you as leverage.
Okay. Okay, got it. And then my take profit is so it's like, I just want take profit at 10%, right?
Yeah, you can put whatever you want in there. All right.
And stop loss at 5% or 2%. Alright, fuck it, I'm just gonna do this. So I put 10% profit, take profit at $25.91. Oh, that's just the price that it needs to hit.
Yes. And that price equals your number. So if it has that price, that means when it hits that price, that's the price that whatever you're picking. So if you're saying profits of 50% and it has a price, that means at that price you made 50% profits.
Okay. So I'm just gonna buy long. I'm gonna need to get a lot better at this stuff.
Yeah, and we'll cover that. We'll spend a little more time. I'll be back on in a couple hours, man. I got to run, and then we can go back, and I'm gonna make another video on just this margin trading. But that's how you fund the account.